Edward Johnson, Edward Winters, and Dolores Almeida. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Four point oh one, Superintendent's Report. Spotlight on program at John J. Robotics Program.
Good evening, members of our community. It is with great pride that I introduce the J-Bots and John J. Robotics team, who have done exceptional work, not only within our community, and with some of our younger students in the areas of robotics and engineering, but have represented the Wappinger Central School District in a most positive light throughout New York State. This could not have been done without the outstanding advisorship of Mr. Amadeo and Ms. Wells. And again, I commend all members of the John J. Robotics team, the J-Bots, who will be doing a presentation this evening. So at this point, Mr. Amadeo, if you could please step up to the stage and introduce your team. Thank you, Mr. Amadeo.
Hi there. Hello. Push to talk. Got it. Okay. Hello. Thanks for having us. I'm Mr. Amadeo. I'm the J-Bots coach. Ms. Wells unfortunately wasn't able to make it, so everything I'm going to say she can agree with that as well. There's a lot of wonderful things that I could tell you about the J-Bots, but I would rather have them come up here and tell you themselves. The only thing that I would like to say before they come up here is I have a lot of experience coaching other teams. I've coached 4 different districts. I've coached 5 different other high school teams. This is the best group of kids that I've ever worked with, and I'm honored to work with them. So right now, I'm going to call up Anish, Natch, Hero, Joey, Arnon, Kate, Anaya, Pallavi, and Joanna, the J-Bots.
Good afternoon, thank you for having us. We are the John J. Robotics Club. We consist of 2 teams based out of John J. High School, the J-Bots and the Phoenix Robotics team, consisting of over 40 members. We compete under First Tech Challenge, otherwise referred to as FTC. Every year, we build, code, and design our own robots to compete in various competitions to score the most points possible. We also give back to the community through workshops, mentorships, camps, and other various demonstrations throughout the year.
So every year there's a new game challenge, and for this year, as you can see up in the front on the field, that for this year we have to put cones on a pole using our bot, and we compete with FPC teams across New York State, and in the future, hopefully, teams across the country and the world. And if you see on the right, there's a picture of our team from the 2022 Geek Skill competition. So how our competitions work, it's 2v2, so 2 teams versus 2 other teams, and each team has a robot of their own, and you score and you get points, and the highest points wins.
So CAD is computer aided design, and for our team, we use the Onshape software. CAD is essentially building online, so that means we can have wheels turn, we can have arms move, and gears rotate together. So using CAD, we can find out basic mechanisms, for example, the intake system and drivetrain. It also allows us to design 3D printed parts that aren't available to us. CAD helps us test out parts and if they can work together. This minimizes costs since parts are very expensive. And currently we are using CAD to use custom parts. And CAD is essential. CAD is an important skill to learn from robotics because it can be used for design, production, and engineering. And big companies like NVIDIA and Synapse and Trek all use Onshape.
We program our bot using the Kotlin programming language, and we write this code in the Android Studio editor, which was created by Google for creating Android apps. Kotlin is a modern programming language that was created by JetBrains for use in cross-platform apps, server-side applications, and data science. Kotlin is Google's recommended way of creating Android apps, and this builds skills that our members can use in their careers. We also created a custom plugin for FTC Dash using the React library made by Facebook. This FTC Dash allows us to view data from our robot in website format. The first 30 seconds of every competition are autonomous, so our robot needs to be able to navigate and score points without human input. We have a webcam mounted on our robot, and we use advanced image processing algorithms from the OpenCV library, as well as from TensorFlow, which is a library for machine learning created by Google. This gives our members skills that they can use to pioneer the future of technologies in computer science.
So in addition to participating in the First Tech Challenge with our robot, we also participate in community-wide service, including a community day that we engaged in with students of elementary schools, middle schools, and high schools, and held robot demonstrations and also had activities. I think we also saw glow sticks, which was fun. In addition, we also held our second annual LEGO Spike Prime event, where we had middle schoolers, so grades 7 through 8, build their own Spike Prime robot, which is a basic LEGO robot, kind of like a LEGO Mindstorm. And they learned how to code it, build it, and kind of execute all the steps. Finally, we are going to be holding a CAD workshop on December 3rd and 17th for kids from middle school to high school to participate in. It's going to be a lot of fun, and we have a bunch of things planned.
In addition to outreach within our community, we also do work within our school. On screen, you will see an app that we developed in collaboration with our school's administration. We mapped our entire school, and freshmen or parents coming will be able to enter any 2 room numbers, and it draws the best way to get between them. We're working on launching a pilot program for this upcoming school year, and it's also currently being used, hopefully by the end of the year, to deploy evacuation routes for all of the rooms. In the top right, you'll see an example of an evacuation route. The exact details have been blurred, but there's a red line that gets drawn from your classroom and the closest exit. And there are also instructions on how to get there. And so we post it in every classroom to ensure students can easily see the best way to get out of a room in the event of an evacuation.
We were mentored by SUNY New Paltz, and they taught new members valuable skills such as CAD and also how to use microcontrollers. This builds them valuable skills so that they can perform other engineering tasks later in the FTC season. We also met with Professor Lewis Whitcomb from Johns Hopkins University to get feedback on our robot designs and also see what we can improve on and what we did well. We pioneered a program called Dream, Think, Create, or DTC. Again, also through our mentors from SUNY New Paltz. This allows also newer members to create and build their own designs as well as code them and allow them to participate in the engineering process. This also allows them to integrate into the FTC program and also gives them skills they can use in real life.
So for fundraising, our goal this current season is to raise $15,000, and this will help us buy parts for our robot and also buy materials used for our outreach and fundraising events. We gain these funds by getting grants, and we get money from individual donors as well as hosting our fundraising events. Last year, we got the Dutchess County Learn, Play, Create grant, and this year we've gotten the PTC On-Chip grant as well as the Rev Robotics grant. And this year, we're also looking at getting more funds from local businesses and restaurants. And you have our sponsorship packets in front of you, and we basically go to local restaurants and communities and we hand those out and tell them about our club and why they should sponsor us. This February, our robotics.
Ms. Poggi, if I may,
Yes.
I would just like to take this opportunity. I know you've talked about the fundraising that you've been required to do since this club has been in existence. And I can say that you have definitely demonstrated how important what you do is to our school district, the future of our students and the future of our community. And I will say that I will be recommending in the budget for next year that you no longer have to seek donations for what you do. That what you do will be funded by the Wapanger Central School District.
Thank you.
The time has not only come to do that, but the time, has also come to look to expand similarly what you're doing at John Jay High School to Roy C. Ketchum High School. So I thought you might like to be aware of that. Thank you. Continue, please, Ms. Poggi.
Thank you. So this upcoming February, our robotics team is hosting an FTC regional qualifier in which 24 teams from around our area will be competing for several spots at the regional competition. As very few teams are given this honor, we are extremely grateful for this opportunity and hope to see you all there because it is open to the public. Thank you for listening to our presentation. Please feel free to ask any questions you may have and view our robot demonstration.
Just how difficult is it to code this robot? Obviously, you guys learn to code. That means probably a model of teachers. But it's just, how difficult is it to actual code?
We spent many hours coding the bot. We have meetings like multiple times a week, and sometimes we stay as late as 11 at night at the school. It's a lot of work to code the robot.
You use the CAD, right?
Yeah, we use CAD to design our bot online, which we do at home so that we can come up with 3D printed parts. There's a few of them on our robot. You can see the orange tops on all the extrusions, as well as the edge of the wheel that's about to grip the cone. Those are all 3D printed and designed. Those are printed, but we also designed the entire robot in CAD so we can see how it fits together and make sure it works before we spend valuable time and money actually building it.
Well, I'll tell you, I'm impressed by you young people.
Thank you.
I wish all of our students was as enthusiastic as you people have demonstrated this evening. And I'm glad the superintendent will put money in the budget that everybody on the board will also support. So you don't have to go out and try to come up with the $15,000 and spend the time developing your program and your robot.
Thank you so much. So we're going to proceed with our demonstration here. The way that this year's games works is that we have to pick up various cones that will be on a field that will be much bigger than this one. The robot drives up to a cone, it picks it up, and then it needs to drive over to a pole of various sizes. We have one of our low poles here for you today. Then the robot needs to pick up the cone, raise it to a height obviously above the pole, which we call junctions, and then let it go so that the cone drops on top of the junction. This is a very early prototype of our robot. The game only launched a few months ago. Just like that, we have storage. So if you notice, the robot has these special wheels on it. They're called mechanism wheels, and they can go sideways, unlike your car. So the way that this feature works on our robot is that each wheel can be independently controlled, and instead of just being a wheel, it has all these various rollers on it. So they're called mechanism wheels, and using math formulas, we're able to take a driver's input of go forward or go sideways and translate them into ways where the robot, each of the motors knows exactly what direction to go in and what speed to go in, so that it can go sideways very smoothly. On a field when there's 4 robots and every 2 feet there's a different pole, it's super easy to navigate when our robot can just go sideways instead of having to turn like your car has to.
Just by curiosity, obviously the robot is controlled by an individual. Can you actually create a program artificially so that the individual will not part of the process? Because obviously if he presses the wrong button, something's going to happen.
So for the first 30 seconds of every match, the robot goes entirely on its own. This isn't just pre-programmed functions, because there are 3 other robots on the field. So there's cameras on it, and it has to look at the pole side. In the top right, you will see the robot detecting a cube on the field and drawing a green box around it. On the right. And in the middle, you see how there's blue tape, and the computer vision has drawn green dots all over it, because it's recognized that that is a tape on the field. So during the first 30 seconds of the match, we do all these detections and we look at other robots and field elements to figure out what we can do in those 30 seconds, because everything is basically double points during that time period. And also when the driver is driving, we have a lot of functions coded into the gamepad, so they don't have to turn. They can just press a single button and a series of functions will execute.
Excellent.
Thank you for having us tonight.
Mr. Modio, you've done a great job. I'm proud of you. And students, thank you, thank you.
So I just a quick word while they clean these things up and get them out of the way. The question, oh, they spend a lot of time playing with them, and we'll have outreach events in the future that you can come and be involved in. Like they had the flyer up there for the CAD workshop that's occurring in December, which is going to be great. But to give you some perspective on how hard they work, last season we have logged 356 hours of time with coaches and the team. And I'm also proud to say that over 100 of those hours were outreach in some fashion. Some of it was remote, some of it was in person, but over 100 hours of it was outreach. So I'm really proud of their efforts.
Well, we're very proud of you as well as the team. Congratulations and thank you for a phenomenal presentation.
Dr. Mom wants to be part of that team. Actually, Mr. Spencer wants to be part of that team. He just told me he's going to volunteer.
I really want one of the cool sweatshirts they have.
4.02, Dutchess County Postage Update. Jason Shatelik.
I have no demonstration tonight. Dr. Blanc would have given me a heads up, I would have set up a whole circus. That is an amazing program. The reputation precedes it, so I congratulate you all on that. We want to give you a quick update as we start this new year. Real quick, as you all might know, we welcome 2 new superintendents in Dutchess County. Pine Plains, Brian Tim, as well as Millburg Cowan Hernandez Padilla. So I just wanted to make sure everybody knew that. We've started the school year with our feet on the ground running, it seems. Everyone had a wonderful school opening. And we continue to navigate whatever the New York State Education Department seems to throw at us every other day. And that leads me obviously to the healthcare workers bonus program that was launched to acknowledge our healthcare workers during a 2.5-year pandemic. I did want to point out that your HR and business departments have done a yeoman's task in managing this project. It has not been easy. I think the consensus has been that it should have been done by the health department instead of schools. However, your business and HRs have just done a spectacular job. So I did want to shout them out because it's been a lot of work. Our construction project continues. So some dates: December, we will be completed. I'm going to knock on wood. Board members from our components, you'll be receiving invites for different tours in January. And then come spring, we'll do an official ribbon cutting. So we're very excited about that. And again, I want to thank our boards of trustees at Dutchess County. I want to thank you and all of our component districts for the support of this project, especially during a very tumultuous time. So thank you very, very much. Career and technical education. We recently just met at Dutchess County Community with manufacturers around the area to really speak about what their need is. You just hit a home run with one of them because the coding was a big one and CAD was a huge one. So the more you can incorporate that into your curriculum, the better off you'll be in regards to feeding our manufacturing industry. It was a great conversation. We'll continue those conversations over the next month. We also, from our perspective, career and technical at Dutchess County BOCES, we have added some programs this year. So we added fashion and marketing in a partnership with Marist. That'll be a dual credit course. And we've also added HVAC, as well as we've added fabrication onto our welding program. We've been working with Haas Manufacturing along with Allendale Machinery, and they were gracious enough to donate a CNC machine from Haas during the summer, retail about $55,000, $60,000. That has been set up generously by them as well. So our kids will have training on equipment that right out of graduation, they'll be able to use on the floor of major manufacturers. So we're very excited about that. And we plan on growing those machines and equipment over the next couple of years in collaboration with Dutchess County Community. Real quick, obviously, a lot of things have been coming down from the state. Wanted to hit upon universal pre-K. So the state over the next 5 to 10 years will be looking for one funding stream. They want to put everything under one umbrella and really get a solid funding program and then use an equity formula to fund that based upon school districts' budgets. So they will differentiate the funding and hopefully that'll make a difference in regards to how many classrooms we can start to afford. Because right now, as I'm sure Dr. Bonk has told you, it is a struggle with our current funding. So I'm extremely happy that they're addressing that big issue and that should come to fruition within the next 5 years. DCC for us, we're about to sign some deals with Honda and Toyota to bring them into our auto program. We're very excited about that. We're going to run it similar to a P-TECH program. So our kids will start in Dutchess County, Dutchess BOCES, and then go right over to Dutchess County Community. So we're extremely excited about welcoming those two car industry giants into our family. I did also want to mention that Dutchess County BOCES has received a grant from the New York Department of Labor and for around $95,000 to implement a portable industrial manufacturing production technician training program. IMPT is the entry level into any manufacturing company. We worked on this grant for about a year with the idea of really focusing on the portable aspect of it, where we'd be able to bring it to Wappingers, bring it to Dover, bring it to Weebatuck, bring it down to Beacon, because that's been a big issue, spreading our programming around. In essence, we're using virtual reality, where kids can we'll put the goggles on and the gloves, and we'll do work inside a virtual factory, a manufacturing plant. We'll be using Tooling U, which is one of the most popular online training modules, as well as OSHA 10 and 30 training. So we're excited about that program. Launching hopefully end of this year once we get everything started and all the materials purchased. We just were given the letter of the grant about a week ago. So we're excited to launch that. We're also part of the individual arts assessment project, meaning, and Dr. Bach has mentioned this many times, the state is looking for options for graduation instead of just pen and pencil. And the arts is one of those areas. So we're one of 36 districts currently in that pilot. We're the only BOCES in that pilot. On our end, our project will be around entertainment technology or theater technology, where kids will be trained in sound, set design, lighting, many strong union positions that cannot be filled right now. So we're looking to really train kids around those so we can feed them right into theater and the entertainment world. Currently, Capital BOCES runs a similar program, so we're hoping to emulate that and bring it down to Dutchess County. Currently, we also just met on the Domestic Terrorism and Violence Targeting Committee that the county just started. Representatives from education, from police, library, city, all sitting in one room, really talking about how to keep our county safe and specifically our schools safe. So I'm looking forward to those conversations. NISBA was a pretty good time. I'm not gonna lie, especially for Wappingers. We were lucky enough to have Dover and Wappinger students come down and run a student leadership toward equity panel that was very well attended, and I'm still hearing the kudos from different people that have seen it. We had 4 students, 2 from Dover, 2 from Wappingers, that developed the program, ran the workshop. It was facilitated by our wonderful Jenny Shadilla, Dr. Shadilla, and I think I saw her in the audience. She did a wonderful job facilitating that, so big kudos to Jenny and a big kudos to the students. It was just amazing to sit there and hear their comments and really understand their vision of what they want to see in the classroom and how they want difficult conversations to happen on an ongoing basis. So kudos to Wappingers. The students were just wonderful. We'll be holding a roundtable with the commissioner within the next 3 weeks around the role of community college in pre-K through 12 education. I had a one-on-one with her a couple weeks ago. We decided this would probably be a really nice avenue to examine what that role looks like. Currently, as a group of superintendents, we're looking at dual enrollment right now, and also looking at, okay, so what's their responsibility also for training, their responsibility for kids who want to just get a 2 and then move on to a 4. So their responsibility in regards to partnering with districts around the county for programs like our Toyota and Honda program. What's that going to look like moving forward? So we're excited about talking with her. We'll be asking for a couple superintendents to sit in on that as well as some industry and community college representatives. So we'll definitely give you an update as we move forward with that meeting. We're very excited. I did not want to take a lot of your time, so I will end on a positive note. We've had a really nice start of the school year that we're excited about, so I'm really hoping this carries off into a wonderful holiday season and into the spring, and it's just an unbelievable year. Questions?
Jason,
Yes.
first off, I saw Mr. McFarland there nodding his head with all the programs that you have. He's the most knowledgeable person on the board regarding those programs, and I'm sure he appreciates everything that you guys at Dutchess do.
Well, we want to be responsive to the area. Right? So the more we talk to manufacturers, the more we talk to the various industries, the better we'll be in establishing programming and be more nimble to get kids into jobs that are out there right now.
Eddie?
So of course, you mentioned lighting, sound, and stage production and so forth. Have you had any contact with Tony Glazer over in Newburgh, who has Umbra Studios and Choice Films?
I have heard that name. We're working currently with Bonaparte there in Poughkeepsie, the theater. We're working with Dutchess County Community. They've run a couple courses, but I just wrote down his name and I'll.
Okay, you should just reach out.
Okay.
I mean, that's something, just because, the film industry is making a huge impact in Hudson Valley here and Dutchess County. And also we do have, coming to iPark in the town of East Fishkill, we do have sound stages coming at some point. So there could be some opportunities there, either for internships or potential theater, and it's local. So
Well, I'm over in Beacon, so I get to see all the food trucks that go over to the prison on a regular basis as they're shooting TV shows, film.
Right.
Okay.
There's a lot going on, and there's more coming in down the road. So he's done a fantastic job expanding.
Perfect.
And is actually having a major studio doing major productions here in Hudson Valley. Definitely somebody should reach out.
Thank you, sir.
That's Tony Glazer, he's the president and owner. Choice Films.
Choice Films.
Over Studio.
This may be my big break into the film industry. Dr. Bond, you might not see me again.
Are there any other comments by any board member? Seeing none?
President Lumi, I'd like to make a comment if I may.
You can-
And by the way,
you like Dr. Bond.
I apologize for
You
my,
can't, try to save his voice, you know?
I apologize for my laryngitis. I feel great. I may not sound great, and I may not look great, but I feel great. Mr. Shatelik,
You're a long way from your DJ days.
I want,
Right?
yes.
It's all because his Bills lost yesterday. That's why his voice is the way it is.
You know, I'm actually speechless when it comes to that. What can I say? The Jets were the better team yesterday. But I want to thank you and the BOCES board for all of your efforts in spearheading the charge to inform the state education department of the importance of career and vocational and technical education, and for conveying the thoughts and the wants and the needs of the individuals in the Wappinger Central School District as well as Dutchess County, that we believe that this should be a pathway that our students should have the opportunity to enter. Not all students are college and career ready. They don't all learn at the same pace. I believe the days of a 3-hour exam to determine whether or not somebody should graduate on 13 years of education should end. And I believe that we need to provide these types of opportunities so that our students can remain in our communities, make our communities strong and vibrant, support themselves and support their families. And business is telling us they can't find people in some of these vocations. It makes sense to work together. It's a shared responsibility. And I want to thank you, and I want to thank your board for all of your efforts in that regard. Thank you.
Our main goal is to create a vibrant Dutchess County. So kids that do go away to college end up coming back, and kids that stay in our area are the next generation of our industries. And I want to also thank you guys as well for keep feeding us wonderful board trustees, such as Mr. Rubin over here.
I'd like to recognize Mr. Rubin, who is part of the board.
He has been highly supportive.
I hope he's effective on that board, is he?
Highly effective, highly effective.
Thank you very much.
Thank you all, appreciate it. Have a wonderful night.
Thank you.
Before we read 5.01, I'd like to make a statement if possible. The board acknowledges receipt of communications from several individuals recently with regard to its acceptance of a gift, copies of the United States Constitution. The communications specifically focus on the identity of the donor rather than the suitability of the gift. The board's role with regard to acceptance of any donation is defined by district policy. That policy, 1800, focuses on the nature of the gift rather than the nature of the donor. It does not either require or authorize the trustees to predicate their acceptance of a gift upon the perceived suitability of the donor. Accordingly, we do not consider either the identity or the suitability of the donor in the donation process, but instead focus on the suitability of the proposed donation as we make these determinations. Thank you. That being said,
President Lumia, if I may, I neglected to mention, but I want to recognize all of our school psychologists for continuing to do a phenomenal job. Needless to say, some of our students did not return with the same type of mental wellness that they had prior to the pandemic. This is National School Psychology Week. And again, on behalf of the district, I want to thank all of our school psychologists for all the work that they do every day for all of our students. Thank you.
thank you, Dr. Bach. 5.01, public comments on agenda items. Ladies and gentlemen, we're about to listen to public comments. Although the state law does not require us to hold a public comment period, we have chosen to do so because we believe it is crucial for us to hear from our community members about their concerns and issues. The board is here to listen. The public comment period is not designed to be a debate or a dialogue. Please do not expect the board to respond to your concerns and questions tonight. We take your concerns and questions seriously and want to have sufficient time to process and research issues if need be. We will have the proper staff member get back to you as appropriate. I also want to point out that under state and federal privacy laws, we are unable to address any comments or questions about specific students or school personnel. We would ask you to go to the appropriate administrative channels. A total of 30 minutes at the beginning of each board meeting is set aside to allow for public comments on agenda items only. Public comments at the beginning of the meeting is limited only to the items on the agenda. Persons who wish to participate in the public comment portion of the meeting are asked to provide their name and a specific agenda item about which they wish to speak. Individual comments on agenda items is limited to 3 minutes and are welcomed. If you wish to address items relating to our school district that are not on tonight's agenda, another comment period is provided at the end of the meeting for that purpose. In the interest of civility and respect for different points of view, clapping, booing, or any disturbance or disruption during the public comment period is not permitted. At this time, comments related to agenda items are welcomed. Please come forward.
Hello, Michelle Costabile, employee and parent of the
Have to
district.
speak, so sorry.
Can you hear me?
Michelle,
Yeah.
have to speak louder if you don't mind.
Oh, I gotta put my glasses on, I can't see.
Can you turn your mic on?
Okay, is that better?
Yeah.
All right. So I'm addressing your policy on physical intervention. That's on tonight's agenda. I was reading through it this evening and I just wanted to address a few things, comments, questions, and maybe a concern. One part under where it says responsible personnel. In this policy that you have written, the individuals who has or have primary responsibility for providing any necessary physical intervention and others who naturally assist in this service will be designated in the child's behavior management plan. So my question here is, especially as your instructor for crisis management and physical intervention, are you asking that we list individual names on the child's behavior plan? Because that's past practice, we haven't done that, so I just want that clear. And which leads to another problem. The next sentence, the superintendent of schools will ensure training is provided to appropriate personnel and appropriate physical intervention strategies. The concern I've had and I've been trying to address, it has been 2 years since we have recertified any handle with care employees. So currently, right now, as of today, no employee besides myself and the 2 other instructors can do therapeutic holds. Mainly because of COVID is the reason we haven't trained, but we do need to set aside time to do these trainings. We have currently 23 personnel that need recertification, and we have an additional 23 personnel that want to have their initial certification. So that should be done within the school year. There is some allowability because of COVID, but that's soon going to run out. If we do not recertify these people, you'll only have 3 of us left in the district to do that. The other concern I have with the policy is the new law that was placed in August. The way it's stated on our policy is a little different than it's stated with the state law. The first part of it says, if a special education student, the law says any child with a disability. That does not mean just special education students. That's also students with 504s. And we are doing therapeutic holds on general ed students. So that part where it says just special education students, that's not actually accurate. It should be children with disabilities, or if you're going to do special ed, add 504 to that piece. The other part that was not quoted correctly from the state law, it says this new law was that any child that has a therapeutic hold put on them, the parent be told immediately within the 24-hour span. But what it says is that the district will come up with a policy of contacting the parents. In our policy says the principal will notify. Currently, any adult that is certified in our crisis management and does the procedure, sorry, I'll be over in a second, does that procedure is the person who calls the parent. On here, it says the principal. So if that's the way we're moving forward, we just need to know that as when we train people, what's the process? Because the law says that you will come up with the policy, where currently is the person who does the hold is the one who calls the parent. On here, it says the principal. In the new state law, the principal is the one who's supposed to call if we do not get a hold of the parent within the first 24 hours. And that's all.
Ms. Constable,
Yes.
please give your statement to our secretary so that the policy committee under the direction of Ms. Peggy Kellen can look at your suggestions and, all right?
Okay.
Thank
And
you.
I also, there's only 2 of us that have the list of the people that need to be trained. So if you want, I have that too.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
And I see no one else? Hi. 5.02. Yeah, she got it. Communication announcements read by the Board of Education. 3 minutes. Anybody have any comments? Cheryl?
It's been a busy few weeks. And as I say every time, it's wonderful to see things getting back closer to normal and students being able to participate in full activities again and have full events. Trustee Johnson and I went to the Evans Elementary School trunk or treat and interacted with some of our students, watched them having a great time. That evening, I did not get to the Sheaf Road Fall Festival that I've always attended in the past, but that's another situation where we've adapted by moving things outside and the children are having great fun. I was able to get to all 3 senior nights for our district volleyball teams. And I saw the last regular season John Jay football game, their victory and their tragic defeat in their first postseason game. We also attended Halloween Haunt at Royce C. Ketchum and Pumpkin Pops at John Jay, so it was wonderful to be in the audience for a music program again. And I really want to congratulate the John Jay cheer team on its Section 1 championship that they won yesterday.
Maria, I think you had your hand up.
Yes, I have to say, Trustee Miggets and myself have been dividing and conquering on some of the stuff. We're trying to get to all the sports, all the activities, one way or another. One of us is trying to get to the schools. We were able to hit the girls volleyball, the girls soccer, the cheer competition in Arlington. I went to that where I got to see both schools compete there. The boys soccer game over at John Jay, which actually was John Jay versus RCK. It was 2 birds, 1 stone. The Pumpkin Pops and the Halloween Haunt, the music, oh my goodness, it was amazing. I cannot tell you how great our music departments are. They were so phenomenal. I was actually, my breath taken away, and I actually had a moment I was wishing Trustee Spencer was there because it was about as good as the Marine Corps band that we got to see. It was really phenomenal. And I'd also like to give a big shout out to RCK. They did a Incredicon, which they had over 50 vendors. They had over 750 people attend the event. It was kind of like a Comic-Con type thing where the booths raised money from the donations to the table. towards their senior class. Plus, they had a trunk or treat outside that all of their clubs got involved with. And it was really great to see how awesome the school it filled up, and it was really, really awesome. And I can't wait till next year when they happen to do it again for the next senior class.
Eddie?
You guys forgot one thing with the football games. That's a separate discussion. But what did we institute, what did we bring back at the football games? Let's give a big shout out to our pep band.
Yes.
At the schools for the football games, which hopefully will turn into our marching bands. But for the short period of time that these kids were together to get ready for the football season, so let's give it out to the music department and all the kids for stepping up and really taking off the new program and the new initiative. And at some point, we'll overtake Arlington as the best marching band in the county.
Anyone else? Mr. Morgan?
I want to thank Trustee Migetz for reminding me to mention the Royce Ketchum College and Career Fair. There were a great number of institutions near and far represented at the higher education level, including one of the oldest and more prestigious institutions in the state of New York. Additionally, the number of vocational opportunities that were present for the students to learn about and interact with business owners and management from those companies. Recognition for all the work that went into organizing the event, and also to the people that came and interacted with our students. Rather than talk about many of the other great and wonderful things going on, I just want to highlight that this Thursday, November 10th, here at Royce Ketchum and at John Jay High School, there will be Veterans Day right here is Wappingers Junior High. There will be Veterans Day celebrations, and it'd be great to see members of our community here to recognize our veterans. I'll be bringing my favorite veteran with me, and I also just want to make mention of the fact that on the agenda this evening is the approval of a plaque to honor a 1936 alum of the Wappinger Central School District. There was the Central School, yes, who was a major and happens to, I'm well acquainted with the family, so I was happy to see that on the agenda. Thank you.
Anyone else? I'm sorry for not hearing my hearing's not that great, Rick. The immediate thing at 11:45 will be here at Wappingers Junior High to honor Major Trabuco. And the plaque was started by a fellow by the Tom Marsh, who contacted myself as the superintendent, and he's taken all the initiative to get the plaque done. And so I'd like to thank him for his initiative. Anyway, I'd like to congratulate Abby Kowazik, RCK, and Kara Hick, qualifying for the cross-country sectional meet for the state. Abby is the first woman. Actually, she's not the first woman. The first woman was Marissa Sotero, who happened to be a runner when I was a cross-country coach. She was the first qualifier for the state. Obviously, she's the second woman to qualify. She came in third out of 101 runners, while Connor Hay is the second runner to qualify for the states. The first runner was also one of my runners, by the name of, I can't think of his name right now, but Rob Nellis. Mr. Nellis was the exceptional runner. And again, these were the first two individuals, but nonetheless, it's quite an accomplishment to come in second out of 147 runners. So congratulations to those two individuals. As already been mentioned, I'd like to congratulate Mr. Mike Lopez for organizing the first trunk or treat of Comic-Con at RCK October 29th. The event, as has already been stated, was a huge success with a turnout of over 700 families from the community. Inside several young artists and members of the National Honor Society had their artwork on display and for sale with a handful of local professional artists from the community along with 50 vendors. I hope this event will continue and set a new tradition. So thank you, Mr. Lopez, for all your hard work. I also want, as already been mentioned, I want to thank Kayla Bosha and Elizabeth Keating for their hard work in organizing the job fair at RCK. I know the students certainly appreciate speaking to the various companies as well as the college they represented. Our own board member, Mr. John Morgan, was representing his alma mater. Great to see him there. So thank you for being there. And with that being said, the comment period from the board members is over. Let's go on to the next item, which is committee reports. The first person is Coach Capital Improvement, Co-Chair Mr. Schlesauer, and Mr. McFarland. Take it over, whoever wants to take over.
Thank you, President Lumia. Just some real quick items. Our HVAC project, phase 2, all closeout paperwork is in with the exception of one contractor, which we anticipate receiving at some point this month. So thankfully that project is complete. I want to thank everybody involved, our vendors, our facilities department, and Director Bross. With phase 4, which was our summer 2022, most of the work is substantially complete, which I've been updating. We just have some minor things. Some railings still need to be installed at Myers Corner Elementary. Just to confirm, to make sure everybody understands that the brand new sidewalks are in. There's just some minor punch list items. Once those are complete, the facilities will do a final walkthrough. We don't anticipate any issues there. Our proposed capital project for 2022, final drawings and speculations for the phase 1 have been completed. Our engineer and architect are in final review before submitting them up to the State Education Department. Fingers crossed that we'd have approvals back sometime in April, early May, therefore we could go out for bid and then have a majority of the phase project done in the summer of 2023. Just a quick update with the new drop-off at John Jay. The walkway has been completed. We do have some punch list items and some other minor things that have to be done. There is a change order tonight on the agenda, which please, if the board has any questions at that time, I'd be more than happy to answer them. Are still fingers crossed again that our light poles will be delivered some point this month and installed. Our John Jay sump pumps, which was the issue, if everyone remembers, we had that bad storm, we had the huge flooding. Thankfully, the sump pump project's complete, generators have been installed. Final inspection was scheduled on 11/3, so it looks like that project is complete. I'm happy to report that. That's it. Thank you.
Thank you, Eddie. Legislative action, Chair Migas.
The Legislative Action Committee met on October 24th, and we had letters of application from a community member and a student member. Unfortunately, while we had a committee quorum, we did not have a quorum of board members that evening, so we had to table those applications. We're going to invite them to our December 5th meeting. And hopefully by that time, we'll also have some interest from applicants from the other 2 high schools in the district. We reviewed our list of goals on the approved charter for the year. And we have a proposal to amend the charter goals that'll be submitted for the next board meeting, because with current things that have gone on, we would like to have permission to study Assembly Bill 08378, which will probably be submitted under another number in January, so that we can follow the progress of that bill, because it will have an impact on education and schools in the state if it's passed.
Thank you, Cheryl. Next is Wellness, Ms. Crandall. Well, you're next, I guess. Communication, community communication, Chair Johnson.
You get a second reprieve, Ms. Crandall. Communications Committee met on October 25th. We set out our new goals, which the charter should be on the next meeting. And I would like to say that we were able to vote, and we can welcome Crystal Schwartz and Dawn Raymond as our new community members. And our next meeting will be determined. We're getting some dates together in order to get that out. That's it.
Thank you, Ms. Johnson. Wellness, now, Ms. Crandall.
Good evening. The Wellness Committee, District Level Wellness Committee, met on October 12th. We had Mrs. Kellen and Mr. Lumia in attendance with us that day, in addition to a handful of other members. We had 2 new committee members who came that day as well. And we had a very lively discussion about various topics. These 2 community members are very interested, very vocal. So we'll be working on those minutes. And our next meeting will be in January, barring a snow date, on January 11th. And we'll be beginning.
Please don't talk about snow.
Okay, sorry, sir.
It's beautiful outside.
It is, you're right. We will be discussing the surveys that are done for both students and families at that time. Thank you.
Assistant Superintendent Krim, do you have any inside information about the weather on January 11th, or is that a prediction?
No, you just try to think ahead. Dr. Bond wants us to think ahead.
If you do, let me know, please. Thank you.
Dr. Carwell, curriculum.
Good evening, everyone. Excuse my voice a little bit as well. The curriculum committee meets 4 times each school year. For each school year, we have board members that are on the committee. This year, we have President Lumia, Vice President Kellen, Trustee Morgan, and Trustee Miggets on the curriculum committee. We met as a committee on October 26th. Trustee Morgan and Trustee Miggets were available to attend that day. We had a wonderful presentation by Director Bonnie King on the fine and performing arts. Director King gave us an overview of the elementary, junior high school, and high school programs. Some of the highlights included that there are 54 elementary ensembles which lead into our junior high school and high school programs. This is one of the reasons why our music program is phenomenal at the secondary level, because our teachers begin to work with the students in the elementary schools and really provide them with activities and lessons that are preparing them to be musicians. We're also very excited about our arts program. Director King explained to us that the alignment between the arts curriculum from elementary, what they learn, really builds. So this way they become the artists that they are. And the final presentation of the Festival of the Arts really outlines all the work that the students put in throughout the school year. For the high school, some of the phenomenal teachings that we have are taught through 22 art classes and 15 ensemble classes as students have an opportunity to enroll as courses. So we're very excited about the development of the fine and performing arts and continuing to see it grow.
Dr. Carr, I want to thank you for posting the presentation online. So if anybody's interested in that presentation, you can go online and actually see it. It was excellent. John?
Could I just ask one question? Could you explain to the board, Director King made a special point of explaining 4th grade chorus and why that's required across all 4th graders in the district and the importance of that. I found that insightful.
Mr. Morgan, I'm not sure I remember exactly what.
Can I answer my question?
I don't think I can answer your question at this time. I'd have to review my notes. Can you
No,
recall?
so the point was, and I thought this was very interesting, that all of our fourth grade students participate in chorus. Whether they go on to participate in chorus, band, orchestra, they all have the opportunity to perform, to get up on stage, to make, in effect, a presentation before an audience. And I thought it was very insightful that Director King talked about how for some of our students, that may be one of the few times during their entire educational career here at Wappingers that they have the chance to appear before an audience. But whatever their later vocation becomes, they may be called upon to make a presentation about something that we heard about earlier from our BOCES superintendent, and at least they've got someplace within their past that they've made a presentation. And I just thought that was very interesting, the way that she tied that in to something that we do for all of our fourth grade students, and therefore all of our students that go through Wappingers all the way without us even thinking about it or knowing it. And it's quite intentional the way that she explained it.
Yes, while a lot of us enjoy going to the high school concerts and hearing the extreme talents of our students, I'd like to remind all of you that, I know you hate the W word, but winter concert season is about to start in a few weeks. And I really think that we owe it to our younger musicians to turn out and support those beginning musicians in their concerts in our elementary schools and our intermediate level in the junior highs. I know as a parent, when it made a big impression on me when I went to my child's music informants, not even a concert, informal informants, and Mr. Lumia, Mr. Rubin, Mr. Bittaker were all there as board members to support those young musicians. And I think this is something that we owe to our students.
I think it's extremely important that we attend these conferences. First of all, they're enjoyable. And to see the talent of these kids is incredible. Just a quick story, I don't take quick stories, but my son went to Chief Road School, and I remember he played the saxophone in front of the entire audience, the Star Spangled Banner. It was incredible to see this kid on stage in front of maybe 200 or 300 people and not make one mistake. Actually, he made one mistake, but he recuperated incredibly well. I was so proud of him, and I think every parent that has kids performing is very proud. And again, I wish all the board members attend some of these things, and most of us do. So keep doing it. Anybody else? All right, next is District Safety, Chair Lokima.
Good evening, everyone. The District-wide Safety Committee met on October 26th. Board members present, whereas President Lumia, as well as Trustee Spencer. Thank you so much. We had a great turnout for the committee. We have great representation from parents and staff, administrators, faculty. The topics we talked about was the recent tragic shooting at the Central Visual Performing Arts High School in St. Louis, Missouri. We talked about that week we had the superintendent had sent out a letter about false reporting and the importance of see something, say something. We discussed that, asked the committee for feedback on that. We discussed all the new safety protocols and supports that were put in place, including the extra police coverage at all of our schools, and asked the committee for feedback on that. Everyone's very happy with what we were doing. And we also asked the representative from Putnam Northern Westchester BOCES Regional Support Services and Safety Services to provide an update on the work they were doing with our schools, namely training for our building level emergency response teams, as well as the work they were doing with the building security audits. So we got a good update from them. And for the next time we plan on meeting,
is in January to talk about the 2023-24 district-wide safety plan draft.
I'd also like to thank Mr. Cuglieri, Frank Cuglieri, for all the effort and that he does for this district so far as safety. So thank you. Next is policy. Chair Kellen.
Okay. Yes, I would like to assure everyone that when we put something on a policy, after the policy committee has to put it for first reading, we do pay attention to the suggestions and comments that people make. On this, for second reading today, policies 122 and 1510 have both been amended to reflect the further deliberations after comments from suggestions from the board. And since we have heard some corrections to policy 4321.12, I will be asking to pull it when we get to approving the policies on second reading so that we can look at it. And thank you very much for bringing to our attention problems with the policy, and we will consult with our attorneys and try to get everything corrected. Thank you. In addition, that everyone should know about, we're approving tonight a new sign-in policy for public comment. This will make it fairer for everyone for the occasions when we have a lot of people who want to speak. That way it'll be first come, first serve. Usually we're able to accommodate everyone during the 30 minutes, and sometimes the chair will give a little extra more time. But we want to make sure this is fair to everyone. And this is a policy similar to what's done at most municipal meetings in the area, town board, planning board, zoning board, and all the other boards. So we hope that will make it fairer for everyone. It will be that when you come in, that you'll sign up with the district clerk at the table over there and put down your name, the town you live in, and the subject you want to speak on. And that way the president of the board will be able to call people in the order in which they signed up. And we hope that will be fairer for everybody. Okay. In addition, today, first readings was put up for first reading, and we can get suggestions and improvements on those if necessary. Include the incorporation of the John Jay student suggestions in policy 4810. This was the presentation they made at the state convention. That was mentioned during the BOCES presentation, and they made some good suggestions, and the policy committee considered them and worked on the wording a little more, and those will be there in first reading also. The other changes for first reading were grammatical or getting us in line with current policy. Okay.
Last but not least, New York State School Board Association Convention and resolutions. Thank you. The next is New York State School Board Association Convention and Resolution. Voting delegate, Ms. Kellen.
Okay, now, first of all, because they came up with something since the COVID and the shutdown for the last couple of years, and the business meeting is now virtual. And unfortunately, it was during the last meeting of our school board. So while you were meeting here, I was in another room from 4 o'clock to 9:45 with the business. And I'll go over the results of that, which were the resolutions. Okay. All right. That was October 17th. Resolutions 1 through 15, 17 through 21, 23 through 25, and 27 through 32 were all passed. Of those, resolutions 5 and 15 were amended. Resolution 5 was amended to make school boards, at their option, parties to pilot, that's payment in lieu of taxes agreements, with the right to negotiate. So that means that school districts, of course, this is not a law. This is just that we asked NYSBA, the New York State School Boards Association, to lobby for these changes. None of them
happen until the New York State Legislature actually agrees to it and the governor signs it. And the other one, number 15, was amended to ask for universal pre-K for third and four-year-olds to be fully state funded. And I spoke on that occasion to the Assembly about Wappingers' problems with the uncertainty of not knowing from year to year whether we're getting money or how much places we're going to have funded for four-year-olds, let alone three-year-olds, and how difficult this makes it to have arrangements with local providers in the community who might be able to give us more facilities if they knew for sure we'd be doing it for more than 1 year. Because of course, it's necessary to adapt facilities to be appropriate for little children. Okay. Resolution 16, which was unanimously supported by our board, requiring specific training in school safety for licensed school security guards, was defeated by the but after they made the argument that this was already included in training for security guards. I do not know, but that was the argument made, so we'd have to follow up to find if that was correct. Resolution 22, to pay school board members, which most of our board felt had rejected and said we didn't want, was defeated. It was felt that monetary compensation was the wrong motivation for serving on a school board. Okay. Then there was Resolution 26 to strengthen background checks and restrict guns to persons under 21, which was supported by most of our board, was defeated on the grounds that some schools have rifle teams and skeet teams. Okay. The resolutions 34 through 33 and 41 were withdrawn, and resolutions 34 through 40 and 42, 43, and the amendment to number 26 were defeated. Those were all resolutions that were not supported by the resolutions committee. Then, along with Dr. Bonk, I attended the New York State Schools Board's convention in Syracuse, which was held in person for the first time in 3 years, and for the first time in Syracuse in 20 years. Although we found out that actually the convention used to always be held in Syracuse from 1934 to 1973 because it was thought to be central to the state. So that was kind of interesting. However, going there, I did miss the pumpkin pops and the Halloween haunt. So I usually go to them every year, but can't do everything if you're in two parts of the state. There were a number of excellent workshops, and one of the best was the one given by our own students and facilitated by Jenny Chanella, and it was already described. So I'm not going to go into it again, but it was very good. All right. Then on, and the end of the convention, they had school board meeting, the musical, Anytown CSD, Home of the Vengeful Deer, which was written, very funny. It was written by a member of the NYSBA staff and performed by them. And so we have talent in our state association in musical comedy too. So that was very good. On November 3rd, this also relates to the Dutchess County School Boards Association. It did not have their regular meeting because it conflicted with the Lower Hudson School Superintendent's annual event where they had a speaker and all the school board members were invited to attend virtually. And Mr. Lumia and I did. And the speaker's theme was that students shouldn't feel their future is limited to Harvard or homelessness, that we needed to have many more pathways to success, and that students shouldn't feel the pressure there's only one way to succeed. She discussed reducing academic stress, homework assessments, and scheduling.
That was a long speech here. May I make a suggestion? With those notes, just type them up and just give it to the board so that they can follow. I'm serious.
Okay, I felt that I brought all my notes. You can see there, in case anyone wanted more details on the resolution.
Not at this time.
By the way, I did attend the same thing, it's, what do you call it, virtual, with this lady, who in my opinion, a waste of my time. She wasted my time, 2 hours of it. Anyway, thank you for all the reports. Although some of them have been long, but thank you anyway. 6.01, consent agenda resolutions. Anybody want to pull anything from the consent agenda? Eddie?
6.03, number 3.
Anyone else? Marie?
6.14, the item on books. Excuse me, which number? 6.14, the line on books.
So 6.03? 6.03.
14.
14, but then what part?
The line on books donation.
Line on books, okay.
It's all yours.
Okay. Resolved that the Board of Education does hereby approve the following consent agenda items as stated. 6.02, 6.03 and addendum, but not item number 3. 6.04, 6.05, 6.06, 6.07, 6.08, 6.09, 6.10, 6.11, 6.12, 6.13, 6.14, except not the line on books.
And 6.15. 6.15.
6.15.
Motion? Marie, second. Cheryl, all those in favor? Unanimous. 6.03.
Okay. 6 point, wait a minute, just a minute. 6.03, number 3, probationary appointment number 3, as stated. I move.
I second it. All those in,
No.
oh, that's good. All those in favor? Opposed? Abstain? Okay, it passed. 6.14. I'm sorry?
I didn't get the individual votes.
Oh, okay.
Okay, all those in favor, please raise your hands again. In favor,
Thank
Mr.
you.
Morgan,
Thank you.
Mr. Miggets,
I got
you got him? Abstain, 1 abstention.
it. Thank you.
6.14. Line item.
Yep, getting over the issue, yes, getting over it. 6.14, Fiscal Plains books, 94 books and 13 National Geographic magazines.
I second it. All in favor? Aye. You're not, one abstain? I'm gonna say why. I'm gonna say. The reason why she's abstaining, she was very, very, very generous in donating a lot of money. $483 for worth of books. So thank you very much, Ms. Johnson. What's that?
And classic National Geographic.
Oh, thank you. Anyway, let's look at the, what's the next item? 7, wait a minute, 7. Oh, yes, the announcement's gonna be made, I'm sorry. What's the next thing?
No, 7.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Renee Harris, and I'm the Director of Human Resources. We have 2 individuals in the audience this evening that I'd like to recognize, congratulate, and welcome to the WCSD leadership team. We have Miss Jenny Shanella. Jenny, could you please stand? Ms. Shanella was just appointed as the Director of English and Social Studies, K through 12. Ms. Shanella comes to Wappingers with several years of administrative experience, and we're excited to welcome her to our administrative team here at Wappingers. Welcome and congratulations, Director Shanella.
Next, I'd like to recognize and congratulate Andrew Rivera, who was just appointed as the Supervisor of Transportation. Mr. Rivera started with Wappingers as a head bus driver. He's excelled in his position, and we're excited to have him start a new chapter and role as the leader of the WCSD Transportation Department. Thank you. Congratulations to both of you.
Welcome on board to both of you.
Seven.
7.01, approval of the memorial plaque.
Resolved by the Board of Education of the Wappinger Central School District to authorize that a memorial plaque be placed on the interior wall in the lobby of Wappinger Junior High School to honor the heroism and sacrifice of Major Thomas F. Trabucco, a 1936 graduate of the Wappinger Central School District who lost his life in the line of duty, be hereby approved.
Motion. All at once. Mr. Johnson, a second. Cheryl, all those in favor? Unanimous. Was that? Absolutely, you can make a statement.
As was meant, maybe not, as was mentioned by Trustee Morgan, we have a number of Veterans Day ceremonies coming up on Thursday. And the one this year at Wappingers Junior High School, which will be at 11:45, will be to honor Major Trabucco and his contributions to our country. I need to thank Tom Mash for all of his work in organizing this. Tom came to us and made us aware of the outstanding contributions of Major Trabucco. And I would like to thank him for introducing us to Major Trabucco's family, as well as our Board of Education for hopefully approving this plaque in honor of Major Trabucco, which will be here at Wappingers Junior High School. So thank you.
7.02, approval of change order.
Resolved that the Board of Education approve change order number 5.1-009 at a total cost of $87,424.47 as per memo dated October 26, 2022, from the school district's architect to the Director of Facilities and Operations as recommended by the Superintendent of Schools.
Motion, Marie, second. Eddie, does anybody have any questions? Eddie, could you explain to me, explain to the board about the 87,000 to change?
Change is
Where
very
that's
simple.
coming from?
Yes, very simple. That's the walkway path from the new John Jay the John Jay student drop-off, the pathway from the drop-off on Patriot Way into the building. Unfortunately, if not everyone's aware, that area back there, we have an enormous amount of groundwater. So after we had to excavate, we hit some groundwater, so we had to do some additional leveling, stonework, and so forth. This was originally about $115,000. We had some credits from the vendor, so he was gracious enough to utilize those credits on this particular change order. So the net expense to us was $87,000. And again, this is funds are being utilized from the leftover project from the prior capital. So this is still all coming from the budget that we had allocated for the summer phase 4. There's no additional monies that we incurred, and there's no additional monies for taxpayers on this.
Thank you, Eddie, for the explanation, and thank the architect as well, Mr. Bros, for getting this done, getting this money. Motion? Second? All those in favor? Unanimous. 7.03, second reading and adoption of policies. I believe
I'm going to pull policy 4321.12, physical intervention, because it clearly needs some more work.
Okay, with that pulled, I will now read it. Resolved that the Board of Education of the Wappinger Central School District hereby approves the second reading of and adopts the following policies based upon the first reading by the board and the recommendation of the policy committee as stated, and the changes are all also listed there.
Second, Jim, all those in favor? Unanimous? Yes, Marie, go ahead.
Okay, yes, we did do some revisions on, from the first to the second reading on policy 1222, relationship with booster organizations. I know there were some other concerns that were brought forward, and the booster policies will still be being looked at further in policy, but the revisions as of this time are correct, but we are going to continue to look at some of the policies regarding booster clubs, and I just wanted to let everyone know that.
Thank you. 7.04, approval to retire policy 1500E.1, point 3, excuse me.
Resolved that the Board of Education does hereby retire policy 1500-E.3, sterno fuel use, as the policy is non-essential and because the district cannot ensure that food kept warm with sterno fuel is maintained at safe temperatures for consumption as recommended by the policy committee to the Board of Education.
Motion, Marie, second, Mr. McFarland. All those in favor? Unanimous? 7.04, first reading of policies, silent reading. Once again, there's a lot of policies there, first reading. I would suggest, as was suggested by one of our board members in the audience, please read those policies. If you think corrections should be made, please forward those corrections to Mrs. Kellen so that the appropriate attention will be given to them. Thank you. All right, a request for addition to the agenda. Does any board member have any addition to the agenda? Don't you have something? Or don't you have another addition?
No.
Okay. With that being said, any comments from the public? Somebody want to make a motion to adjourn? Marie, second. Vegas, all those in favor? Unanimous.